Hey there, how's it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward. And in this video, I want to share one of the biggest mistakes that people make when starting a fat loss cutting diet. It's like, here it is right now as I'm shooting this video. It's early in the new year. Right? It's actually January 6th as I'm making this video right now. So a lot of people have leftovers in the refrigerator, and leftovers meaning like leftover Christmas cakes, leftover Christmas cookies and crap and goodies and sweets and junk. You also probably have beer and alcohol and things like that we were accumulated during the holidays. So you have all this not so good food and not so good drink in your house, and you say, you know what, I got to get rid of all that before I start my quote unquote diet. So what do? You start eating all those cakes and cookies. You start drinking all the alcohol, and you want to get it all out of the house. So instead of literally getting rid of it, you get rid of it by consuming it, and then say, okay, on Monday, the diet starts. Right? So I want to have a clean slate. So I'm going to consume all that stuff, get the cravings out of my system, get the junk food out of the house, clean it all out so that I can start on a clean slate on Monday. And I understand the thought process behind that, but it is totally flawed. And to kind of show you how flawed that is, I'm going to give you another analogy that's kind of similar. Imagine you had a goal to start saving money. And you said, you know what, I'm going to get all my spending urges out of my system before I start saving money. So we're going to go have a weekend in Vegas, and we're going to go gamble at the casino. We're going to go on a shopping spree. We're going to do all the stuff, get all that needless spending out of our system, get those cravings out of our system, so to speak, so that as soon as we get back, we can start off on a clean slate. And then while you're having that crazy weekend in Vegas, you rack up $5,000 on your credit card. But hey, once you get back, you're going to start saving money. Well, what happened while you were having your splurge the weekend before? Like, does that money just kind of evaporate into thin air and like it's canceled? It doesn't have any implications? Of course not. You know, if you racked up $5,000 on your credit card, guess what? Next month, you're going to get your credit card statement that says, hey, pay back that $5,000 that you just blew last weekend. The same applies when it comes to your nutrition. Boatloading all that junk food into your system and drinking all that alcohol and just thinking, okay, I'm going to get the cravings out of my system because diet starts on Monday. Well, you still have to deal with the ramifications of consuming all that crap before the diet started. So instead of having that mindset of the diet has a start and an end date or anything like that, just think of, for your very next meal, making the best choices possible, making better choices. And if you do want to get rid of the junk food because you want to get rid of the temptation, that's fine. But either throw it away or give it away or something like that. Do not consume it thinking that that's a guilt-free way. Like, hey, the food that I eat before the diet starts doesn't count. Because it certainly does. So you have to think of the bigger picture, right? Everything counts. And there's really no start or no end date when it comes to nutrition. It's just a never-ending process of trying to make better choices in the moment. Right? Based on your current situation, where you're at right now, what's available, how can you make the best choices in the moment? And that's the key to making this a lasting, sustainable thing versus a short-term deprivation type of thing. And this is one of the problems a lot of people face when it comes to going on a diet, is they get their environment set up. All right, so I've got my meal plan, I've got my macros all calculated out, I've got my schedule and my workouts, and everything is perfectly outlined. And then they start following it. And maybe it goes great for a couple weeks or a few weeks or however long, but then something derails that. Like maybe you have to go travel, or maybe you have to go out to a family dinner, or you're invited out to a restaurant or something like that, or there's a birthday party or a celebration. And then you're in this conundrum. You're like, okay, well, I don't want to go off my diet. What do? Hey, do I show up to the family dinner with, boiled chicken and broccoli in Tupperware containers? Or do I actually eat the meal that they prepared for me? When I go to the restaurant, like, how do I deal with that? When I go traveling, how am I going to stick to my workout schedule? And people have this big conundrum. And then very often, if they do fall off track, they're like, oh, I knew I couldn't stick to this diet. It's too hard. Screw it. And they go back to their old habits again. Whereas you have to find ways to make all that stuff work. And within our coaching program, we refer to this as humanizing fitness and nutrition. Like, how do you still enjoy a family dinner, traveling, eating out in restaurants, and all this stuff? Like, how do you enjoy that stuff and make it work? And the good news is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be better than it was before, better than you normally would. And there's all kinds of ways to make it better than it was before, even if it's just portion control. Like, if nothing else, if you are at the ramifications of poor food choices, well, you can simply choose to eat less of them, eat smaller portions, and that is a way to minimize the damage done. But the most important thing is, as soon as that little slip up, that little detour off the main road happens, get back on track as soon as possible. So if you do have a slip up with your eating today, or you go out to a dinner that wasn't planned and it doesn't fit your macros, or if something happens and you didn't get to the gym today and you didn't stick to your workout program, like, in the greater scheme of things, big deal. Because as long as you start again for your very next meal or the very next day, you can still stay on track and make progress. And it's not about being perfect every single day. It's about being on track most days. And to kind of give you a perfect analogy of this, like, I track my workouts, right? I log them and track them. And in 2023, I logged 308 days of exercise. So there's 365 days in the year. 308 of them, I logged some exercise, whether that was going to the gym for a weight training workout, whether that was getting outside for a bicycle ride. Sometimes it might have been just getting outside for a walk. So 308 days I crossed off as exercise. Look at your own track record. What are you doing 300 days of the year? Like, are you on track, moving in the right direction towards your goals 300 days of the year? And if you are, you're probably making progress towards those goals. Vice versa, if you're off track 300 days of the year and maybe only on track, say, 65 days of the year, which is probably a more accurate ratio for most people, you're going to see the consequences of that. So the big thing that I want you to focus on is being good enough, but good enough consistently, and focusing on being on track most of the time and not having this all or nothing perfection approach. So again, when it comes to starting a diet or starting a fitness program, don't make a big deal of it. Like, just try and make better choices, starting for your very next meal or your very next workout. Like, don't make a big deal out of it. And don't have this official start date where, okay, I have to be perfect from day one. Just focus on being better than you were before, and constantly make those little better than you were before decisions. And if you can do that consistently, day after day, week after week, even if it's not perfect, even if you screw up and fall off track, so be it. Everyone does. I still do. But get back on track for your very next meal, your very next workout, and you can still make this work in the long term. And that's the secret to sustainability. So I just wanted to share that with you. And let me know down in the comments below if you've ever been guilty of doing this. Have you ever been guilty of starting a diet and then picking out on all the junk food that you have in the house so that you can clean it out before you start the diet? I mean, I know I have. I've done it before and, blown things out of proportion, thinking that I was doing myself good, but in the greater scheme of things, I wasn't doing any good. I was basically setting myself back before I even got started. Hopefully you found this helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel, and stay tuned because I got more videos coming your way. Take care. Over and out.